So Michael, one question the community had for you. Having worked in multiple ecosystems in this industry, what do you think Filecoin's community can learn from the others? And vice versa, what can other communities learn from Filecoin?
That's a good question. I guess I would say that Filecoin, for starters, can probably learn quite a bit about how to do some of the DeFi and lending applications, because that's relatively new to this particular ecosystem. The focus had been on the technical infrastructure. And sort of conversely, I think a lot of other ecosystems could learn from the sort of level of effort and sort of I would say like technical diligence that the Filecoin project undertook. I think a lot of projects try to go maybe a little too fast, because this environment is one where, although you want to be able to sort of follow a trial and error methodology, you do need to do that in a safe space before you try to push it into the real world. And I actually think the Filecoin ecosystem did a really good job in being ready to go, so that when things went live, they were sort of mature enough to sustain the inflows. So.
Thank you. So Stephen, I see you got your video working, so we'll come back to you next. So Stephen, you run a 100-person meetup in China for IPFS and Filecoin. Can you share some of your experiences running that group and how you've seen that community grow and how it will grow in the future?
Okay. I have been working on this for about 2 to 3 years, and while we set up this group, there are only a few people, less than 10, I think. I said, the most important thing for us to grow grow the members of this community is that we insist to do some activities, including the meetups and some events. For example, we have weekly meetups. We call it IPFS Force Open Day every week, every Tuesday evening, and we have many people to join us, and we always to let them know about how the IPFS work and how the Filecoin works, and also how about the storage market, the trend, and what's about the Web3, and what's the opportunity about this. This is one thing, and we also have some some engineers actually in our group, and to support others to set up their system. For example, for the IPFS system, to do some services, and also for the Filecoin, we proactively joined this all of this. So I think in one word, you need to focus on this and continually insist on this, because because time values too, right? If you think this is valuable to do this, and you continue to do this, and you will have more and more people to join us. So right now we have about 100 core members, and we have minimum and others, and also right now we're supporting other, especially for the Filecoin miners, who are doing the services to support others to mine in the whole network, which is very good.
Great, thank you. Okay, so moving to Trent next. So one question we had from a viewer was, so how does how does your talk and maybe Ocean Protocol more generally relate to retrieval markets? Is it complementary, an alternative approach, or competitive in some way?
Well, it's not designed to be competitive. I see that generally it will be simply a wrapper on top, right? Like, so the retrieval miner has to go and serve up the like at the end of the day, someone has to get the URI, right? So, and if there is any overlap right now, then which I don't think there is, but if there is, then let's work together to make sure that that these things dovetail very well. And this is why I referenced that that there is opportunity for much tighter integration there. I also think looking at the Filecoin white paper, there was some really interesting questions about how to create a market around that, right? And I guess that's kind of what you're getting at too. And I do see that there's right now, there's a particular way, but there definitely can be other ways to explore this. And this is where, Ocean Market could be interesting as well with the data tokens there. I think, once again, like Sorghum was riffing on too, there's a lot that can be learned from DeFi, a lot of exploration around ways to price things. AMMs is one way, but also, Dutch auctions and channel auctions and order books and all of this. And we're still at the beginning of exploration and of these approaches. I know even for Ocean, we're going to be releasing an updated version of Ocean that actually makes it that much more that improves upon the pricing yet, right? In an AMM context. So yeah, lots of opportunity for collaboration.
Awesome. Thanks, Trent. Okay, Michael, coming back to you. Another question from the chat. Are there other kinds of crypto networks that have this triumph of the commons property that you described? Or is this something that you think is pretty unique to the Filecoin ecosystem?
So I'm going to sort of invert that by riffing off of Trent and say it's not so much that Filecoin alone has this property, it's that Filecoin is a really powerful example, but it sort of synergizes beyond that. So the idea with the question of like synergy versus cooperation with something like Ocean starts to bleed into this question of, are these networks or these applications competing? And my argument is that for the most part, no, the stack for data is so deep that we need the storage and the retrieval and transport and markets. And like each one of these, we'll call them infrastructure level elements, combined with the application level elements that they allow, is a really, really deep, almost, previously shadow economy. Again, to kind of riff off of Trent, we're actually making that more of a public good. And when I describe it as a commons and I talk about this triumph of the commons, what I'm basically saying is that we have this environment where instead of participating, making things worse or negative externalities, we're getting this feed forward, network effect, the positive externality. At least for the foreseeable future, it's a pretty big open plane where the benefits are for integrating and collaborating. We don't have a lot of direct competition. So I would say Filecoin's a big chunk of that triumph. It has a huge opportunity, but that mostly it extends beyond the boundary to interfaces with other networks.
Awesome, thanks. And rotating again, so Stephen, another question the community had for you. What has your experience been with Filecoin Plus so far?
Okay. Firstly, I would think the Filecoin Plus is very, very important for Filecoin network and for the Filecoin ecosystem, is because we want to have the Filecoin network to really store valuable data and to contribute to the world. And so we also put a lot of effort to support this. Especially there are different roles here. For example, we need to have verified clients, and we need to have a notary and all these rules to be more mature. Right now, I have my workmates together to be involved in different parts of this Filecoin Plus. I myself as a I already applied the notary, and I hope to be in this system to contribute to all of these things. And I also, as an advisor, to incubate another team to help them to build up the Filecoin application to save, to get real and valuable data and to be verified clients to work in this in this system. But right now, I would think that we are doing this very carefully is because it's not like really fully decentralized governance, right? Yeah, it's because kind of we have a community to governance this whole thing. I think that which is also good because we used to have on-chain and off-chain governance and bundled together to help the Filecoin network to go up. And after some time, while we have a solid we have a solid solution, and we think is very good, we could be more decentralized. Okay, I would think that it might take about 1 year to make all the process and all these things to be more mature, and the things could go very smoothly. But from my experience, because I have many contacts in China with many miners, I would think that many miners are very, very interested by this and they want to get the valuable data to be stored in their storage system. And there are many application developer are willing to involve this, but they need some need to have some guidance. So I would encourage we have some we have some events and have some training and to have more marketing activities to support this.
Great, thank you. So we've got time for one more question, and that question is going to be for Trent. So this is another one from the community. How can a rug pull affect the price of a data asset? Does having a proof of storage for some data affect the rug pull index?
Yes. So, I mean, overall, a data asset, it's a token, right? So there might be 100 or 10,000 of those tokens, like a cap of, say, 10,000 tokens. And initially, right now, the data owner or the data publisher, sorry, he would have all of the tokens. So maybe he initially puts into the pool, at first he has all the supply, so he puts all of those tokens into the pool, and then some people start buying them, of course, to distribute the tokens over time. But then he decides, okay, he's going to sell some of his shares and pull out maybe a lot, right? And by doing that, it decimates the price, right? Because you have more ocean tokens, but compared to data tokens in that particular pool, then, right? It's just like I think 2017 ICO era, there was people doing exit scams, right? Where they would pump up some, like come up with some coin that didn't even exist, and then they would put it out there, and a bunch of people would buy it, and then they would sell their tokens, 1 day later or 1 month later and disappear, right? So we actually saw stuff like that in the early days of ocean market as well, which is cool. I think it's great. It's a sign of a healthy market, actually, right? And speculation. But so that's kind of that perspective. Like a data token is an access token, right? It doesn't represent its ability. So it represents the ability to access a data set, right? It doesn't represent right now, anything like the physical characteristics of the data, like if it's stored 1 time or 10 times or whatever, right? So that's kind of the difference. Yeah, so there are opportunities to actually probably dive deeper into that stack, and have different classes of data tokens that are related to different things, and it actually might dovetail super interestingly with the Filecoin ecosystem, where everything becomes an ERC20 token at all these different layers to the stack, and it goes deep, to riff on Zargum, as we like to riff on each other. So yeah, that would be a summary. But at the surface level right now, they're kind of orthogonal to each other.
Got it. Okay, thank you. All the riffing, much appreciated. That's what we love to see. Trent, Michael, Stephen, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for being part of this today. Great talks, and it looks like we had a lot of questions, and I'm glad we were able to answer some of them.